Just using my cell phone to film this. I didn't set up GoPros or anything because I wasn't. Alright, well I'm using my old flight controller from my old 95 version 3X, whatever thing this was called. It had analog in it. I couldn't fit a Moonlight in it. I don't want to have to carry an action camera anymore, you know. So I'm just using the old motors and flight controller from that. So where I'm at is, well, starting with the frame is there was a bar here. Focus camera. There was a bar there. So you look right here, focuses. I grind this down because it sits out. This is it in the little thing. It sits out past it a little. So it was sitting on that bar. It also sits out the bottom a little, with like 2 millimeters or something. It sits out past the back 1 millimeter or less, the bottom little. I also had to cut a slit in the top a little bit to fit the SD card in. I was a little off where I started cutting. That's why that hole's so big. If you're better than me, you can just maybe make a mark and then just cut the slit instead of doing it without it in there and thinking I knew where it was. So also, besides that, it's on the other side. Hold on. I used a hand drill. I didn't use a power drill, but I drilled out the holes where those little mounting things are, so that the case sits down on it instead of sitting over. Right there, it would sit over those. It can sit down in it, and I also drilled the top one too to help. The other problem I haven't checked yet but the camera doesn't exactly fit in there perfect. I was thinking about putting washers so that screw doesn't pull through the rubber. But I think I'm putting washers, but it doesn't fit in there perfect. I can maybe heat up this plastic and bend it in closer. Maybe, mess with this a little more. But I'll take another video when I actually mounted what I was waiting for and see. I have to use, I believe, a 12 millimeter screw for this, so that the back end here screw will reach the mount. There's the Moonlight. So I put the Moonlight in it. Let's turn the video here. Alright, so if you see, I put 8 washers for it to reach because the Moonlight's longer. Also, the camera cable I run underneath it, so it goes in that little wedge down there and fills the gap on the bottom. Alright, doing another update to this, because there's the 5 washers you see under there to lift it up, because the Walksnail Moonlight sits up a couple of millimeters higher. And then I'll zoom in here. I put a nut because it was just too hard to get the washers in there, so I put a nut to lift up the front, because the front was originally hitting this bar. You can see that little mark there. I think the other side might be a little more predominant. The little mark there, that was sitting on the frame, and that might have been adding vibrations, even though it's connected. I don't know, it might have been tapping. So I lifted it. It does actually seem slightly better. I feel like I still see like a slight thing, maybe I'm being too picky, but that's what it is currently, and the filming's a lot better. The final video I'll post inside the house and a short clip outside that it does look better. Especially from the first video I think I showed you, where it had jello and this and that. It was just it couldn't even fly it in the goggles. It just looked terrible. So I cut the bar out of there, the bottom, so that the Moonlight, because it sits further back, it could fit in there. And this getting screwed, you can see the indentions, it's getting pushed down. But I have 8 washers. I believe the screw is 10 millimeters. I measured it. I was measuring it and I was getting like 10 millimeters. I thought it was 11. Maybe it comes up a little short, but because it needed a longer screw. The front, I have a little bit of a longer screw, but I didn't use any washers in the front. I just screwed it down tight till it dented the plastic in the front to come down. I changed the pads here because I was getting, I'll show a video, I'll put it up. I was getting crazy jello. Where's the soft ones like this that came with it for the 04 and 03? You know, it's just rubber. It was just, you was screwed in, it was just pulling into there. It wasn't wide enough for the camera either. It was pulling there. I had to put washers on the inside, and the camera was vibrating violently. So I had nylon hard ones printed. It's very hard. I also have TPU ones on the way, because while the camera has really no vibration when I'm flying in the goggles, but when I run gyro flow, there still is like some vibration that do it. But if you want to put the Moonlight in, the Moonlight fits. You can get the 3D print from SpeedyBee's website for that mount. You can print a harder one. I'll let you know if I think the TPU does better. The drone on the gyro on the black box doesn't really show any vibration except for sometimes like high up, like 600 hertz. It doesn't really show any vibration, no serious vibration, all very low. So I don't know. I'll put some more videos up comparing how it used to be. All right, these are the last 2 flights I did after putting in the 100% infill TPU mount. That's just slightly softer than the very hard mount I had in there. It looks a lot better. I also put a nut under the front screws that I showed earlier that keeps the front part of it from touching the frame. That might have been tapping, adding some vibration. So it does look a lot better. I don't really notice the jitters as much, like when I had the very hard mount and then no nut in the front. And then this is an outside run. I started from a battery at storage charge, but this is, I wanted to do a flight in the house too. But yeah, it looks a lot better now on gyro flow. I also believe I use a low pass filter in gyro flow set at 35 hertz just to be on the extra safe side. Ignore me. Alright, so that was the video there. The Moonlight fits and it works. You don't have to 3D print an entire mount, but if you wanted any somewhat decent, you do have to 3D print the tiny little camera circle mount that is a very soft rubber for the 04 Pro. Yeah, because 03 doesn't need that. So you just have to print that, but it's a tiny little part. You can have any company print it, and a solid TPU should cost $10 or less. I think they charged me $9 plus shipping, but they didn't 3D print. They did actually no, yeah they did. SLA, what's it, like laser shit. Yeah, but and then just add the washers and the nut, or if you're more talented than me, washers in the front too. 5 washers in the back, and the nut is probably equal to like 3 washers. Lift it up so there's room, and it fits perfectly. Wire it in. So Moonlight works. Sorry this video is a lot longer than I kind of planned it to be.